All right, so welcome to the Vendasta Performance Group. This one's actually going to be focused on listings. So just before we get going, my name is Naresh. I'm my partner success manager here at Vendasta. So let's talk about listings today. So it's kind of been a listings day here at Vendasta, and in case you missed it, our VP of Sales, George Leith, did a webinar today on how to sell listings, which is actually going to be a really great complement to what we're going to talk about today. So watch for that recording in the Resource Center if you did miss it. So today we're just going to be focusing on why your clients need listings, where they need to be listed, how to get listed, and what solutions we should be bundling together. So let's just get started on the why. So people aren't looking in phone books anymore. They're actually looking for businesses online and on mobile devices. So if a business isn't listed online, they're going to have a hell of a time being found by potential customers. So the first why is going to be just to get found, right? They need listings to make sure that they are driving customers to the right location, that they're calling the right phone number, and that they're visiting the right website. Listings are also the home of reviews. So you need listings to get reviews in the first place. So businesses need reviews today. Not only do reviews boost their ranking on Google, they also play an important part in buying decisions of consumers today. So 92% of consumers consult reviews before choosing to visit a business in the first place. Accurate and consistent listings, along with a healthy pipeline of reviews, are also the easiest way to boost local SEO. So businesses need good SEO for customers to discover them in the first place, and listings kind of tie all of these things together. So we know all these benefits, but why do your clients need help with this? Surely they can do this themselves, but unfortunately, it's really just not that easy. Creating and claiming listings is really, really time consuming. Many of your clients will already know this after trying to fix a few themselves. And with hundreds and hundreds of directories out there, it's really tough to know where should we start. Worse yet, other entities can actually change business information without any kind of warning to that business owner. So this is even if a listing has been claimed. So due to a number of reasons, directories actually cross-reference other sources for updated listing information. And many of them also accept updates from their own users. So Google is a great example of this. You can log into Google and make a suggestion to change some listing information for a business, and they may or may not accept that. And if they do accept it, they'll actually go ahead and publish it. So with listings on social networks, search engines, GPS systems, business directories, it can be really overwhelming to monitor if you don't have the right tools. So it's also, a real headache when a piece of information may need to be updated. So let's say a business owner, wants to update their website. Well, they're going to have to log into each and every directory separately to do so. And not to mention, they would have had to keep track of all of those usernames and passwords that they had used when they actually claimed those listings. But this is the main reason clients are going to need your help. So this is what Google calls the zero moment of truth, and it represents the consumer life cycle today. So, a consumer is first going to gain interest in a product, service, a business, from an ad, TV, radio, maybe it's on the flyer. But before they even enter that store, they're going to conduct some research on that business by reading articles and reviews. So this is the zero moment of truth. At this point, the business's reputation is actually going to determine whether or not that consumer is going to even visit the store. But if the business does have a good reputation, the consumer will likely head there to make their purchase. Now, their experience with that business is going to be publicly shared after that, in the form of an online review, or through word of mouth. So this is the second moment of truth. But in reality, it actually becomes the next consumer's zero moment of truth. And that's because they're going to read about this experience during their own research stage. So without listings, businesses fall flat at the zero moment of truth. Inaccurate listings are going to ruin the business's reputation. And if that business has no listings, there's not going to be any reviews, which means this consumer is not going to be able to complete their initial research of that business, and they're probably not going to visit that business to make a purchase. So we know why businesses are going to need listings. We know why they probably are going to need your help to do so. But with all the different sources out there, how do we know where they should be listed? What directories and solutions are actually going to make the ultimate listings package for your clients? So there's a few areas that should be the primary focus for your agency when it comes to listings, and the first being the big four directories. So that's going to include Google, Bing, Yelp, and YP.com. Why these directories? Well, they account for 85% of online search traffic, so your clients better be listed there, and they better be listed accurately to avoid misleading their customers, right? Customers are actually going to blame the business when a listing is wrong. So, 73% of people actually lose trust in a brand as a result of incorrect listings. So these listings are also the primary source for reviews. We have Google and Yelp in there, which are major review sources these days. And you need Google reviews to get on the first page of Google search. Without them, businesses just don't rank well anymore. So the big four directories really should be the primary focus at first. The second area your clients need to be listed correctly is going to be with what we call the big four data providers. Now, this is different than the big four directories, so let's try not get them confused. The data providers are sources of truth for business information for a wide variety of sites. So in fact, over 300 sources and counting are actually referencing these data providers, and that's going to include search engines, review sites, social sites, GPS, vehicle navigation, along with hundreds of other online directories. So not only do these providers help fix information, but they also build citations for businesses. So a citation is two pieces of business data found online, and the more accurate citations a business has, the better their SEO is going to be. So this is particularly important for local SEO, because it can give a business that competitive advantage they need in search. The last area of focus is going to be getting listed accurately in a handful of the top 100 directories. Now, these include sources like Facebook, Manta, HotFrog, Instagram, GPS systems like TomTom. So clearly it would be best to be listed on all 100, but we got to be realistic here. So getting even into a handful of these is actually going to give your clients a competitive advantage. So being listed accurately in more places actually provides your clients with a SEO boost just from having consistent listing information across the internet. So these sites also account for the last 15% of search traffic. So we hit the first 85% with the big four. This is how you're going to get the last 15. There are also additional sources for customer reviews, which we know is required for the consumer life cycle today, as well as for good SEO. So we have all of these different places that your clients need to not only be listed, but listed accurately. So how are we going to do it? Well, let's start at the top here. So the big four is critical because of all of that search traffic. So this includes those heavy hitters in the search engine space like Google and Bing. So these listings must be claimed manually, and it must be offered as a do-it-with-me solution. So claiming listings is going to involve retrieving PIN codes to verify the business's location or phone number. So you may be required to send a postcard to the business, but more often than not, you're going to be required to send a verification phone call to the listed business number. So to do this, you will need to work with your clients to get these listings updated. There's not really any other way around that. Now, in the case where the business owner has lost credentials to these directories, or the listing was claimed by a previous employee or agency, you will be required to reclaim the listing. And most of the big four have ways to regain control of a business listing. So let's talk about that. So we'll start with Google. I'm sure you've all claimed a Google listing at some point, and it's easy enough. So if it's a new listing that you're actually trying to claim, they're going to require you to send a postcard to the business, and this takes about 5 to 7 business days to complete, just due to the snail mail part of that process. Now, existing listings are going to require you to send a verification phone call to the business. So what you'll need to do is get your client to put you on hold while you send them a verification phone call, allow them to retrieve that PIN code over the phone, come back to your line and just relay that to you, and then you have the listing claimed instantly. Now, if you manage to get a branded email address to use for claiming, Google will sometimes actually allow you to auto-claim the listing with that branded email, but typically you got to make sure that the domain of the branded email does match the domain of the website on the listing that you're trying to claim. Now, if you go through the claiming process and you get a message that someone else has verified your page, don't worry about it. Just select request admin rights, and follow the steps to initiate a reclaim. So Google will contact the current owner and allow them some time to respond. And if that current owner does not respond within 5 to 7 days, Google is actually going to release that page to you, which means you can go ahead and claim it again. So in this case, just make sure you set that expectation with your client on the timeline, because reclaiming listing can take anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks to actually complete. So just make sure that you're both on the same page with that. Now, Bing works a lot the same like Google. You're going to be able to send a postcard, phone call, branded email. Any of those options will help verify your listing. So, I mean, my favorite with Bing is actually going to be a branded email, just if you can get access to one, because it does instantly claim the listing as long as the software recognizes it as a valid domain. So if their automated system doesn't accept your branded email to claim, and it happens, I found it was super easy to actually just jump on Bing Chat, talk with a member of their support team, just justify using that email to claim a listing. So maybe you could find somewhere on that business's website where that email is used, and then their support team's cool with that. They send you an email with an auto claim link, and you have that listing claimed. So it's really, really easy. Reclaiming listings on Bing, again, is also a slice, and that's just because you can actually always reclaim a business listing on Bing. It doesn't matter if someone has verified the listing already, the listing is just always claimable. So I'm not sure whether or not it's a good thing or a bad thing for the business owner, but it sure does make things easier for you as an agent. And just to make sure, once you do have that listing claimed, just make sure you monitor the Bing listing just to make sure nobody else gets their hands on it. Yelp is a little more cut and dry now, so they only allow for verification phone calls to be sent to claim business listings. So Yelp's going to provide you with a PIN code ahead of time. You can tell your client to punch that in when they get the verification phone call, and it's that easy. You'll get a confirmation on your screen that that listing has been claimed. Now, if you don't see the options to claim the listing on the actual listing itself, so you'll see, is this your business or do you work here? It's likely then that the business has already been claimed. So visit Yelp's support page and you can go through the steps to reclaim the listing. But they are by far the most difficult directory to reclaim. So I would always make sure that you establish that expectation with your client in the case that that they've lost access to their Yelp listing. You will again have the most success, if you do have a branded email address to reclaim with. Without a branded email address, I would say Yelp is near impossible to reclaim. So just set the right expectation with your client if you know that they're having issues with Yelp. So we've talked about the most difficult directory to claim. So now let's talk about the easiest. So YP.com is by far the most simple listing to claim. You only have the option to send a verification phone call to claim listings, so it's very straightforward. Similar to Yelp, YP is going to give you the PIN code ahead of time. So just let your client know to punch it in when they get their call. If you're having trouble, or maybe you just want to leave your client out of the claiming process, you can actually call up YP's support line and just request them to help you claim that listing. And 9 out of 10 times, they will actually just do it for you without any kind of verification that you're associated with the business. So it's a little bit sketchy, but it saves you time and effort. And all you need to do is just be sure that you have an Ad Solutions account ready, for the agent when you do call in. Now, the only time I've had issues in getting a listing reclaimed with YP is if it's been part of a paid advertising package, and that's kind of a rare occurrence, but it does happen, so do watch out for that. And in the case that it is paid, there is literally nothing you can do. So just let your client know that they've paid for that listing, and they're going to have to wait for that campaign to end before you'll be able to claim it and update it. So that's the toughest part, is really getting the big 4 directories claimed. But now it's time to get the big 4 data providers updated. So to update the data providers, you're just going to need to visit your client's page in the Accounts tab of Partner Center and click Activate next to Listing Distribution. And it's really that easy. Your client's listing will now be sent on a regular basis to our data providers for an entire year. And that's just going to ensure that 300 sources are referencing the correct business data. You're going to see a nice boost in citations. And it's literally that easy. So your clients are going to see that steady increase in citations almost immediately, and they can monitor that in the Citations tab of Reputation Management. They'll also be able to see it in the Executive Reports. And this is going to be that nice little extra boost to local SEO that they need. Your clients can also monitor the progress of these updates through the listing builder, as you can see here. Now, speaking of listing builder, a lot of our partners forget that Listing Sync is actually a free product that's built in for all of their clients. So this allows businesses to sync their information easily to 4 important sources. So that's going to be Google Maps, Facebook, Foursquare, and Twitter. And it's super easy for them to push updates to these 4 sites. They can do it from a single dashboard. So whether it be changing their website or updating their hours of operations for the holidays, Listing Sync just gives them that central dashboard to update all 4 at once. And it also provides you as a partner this freemium upsell path. So your listings, your clients can actually sync these top 4 listings for free. But if they scroll down, they're also going to notice 40 additional listings that they could also be syncing with the paid version of Listing Sync, which is Listing Sync Pro. And you'll notice at the top 2, there's that little gamification with the, how many sites are they syncing. So it's a really nice product. Don't forget about it. So we've crushed the big 4s. We did the directories and the data providers. So now how do we get our clients into the top 100 directories? And we have a few tools to help you in your agency with that. So through Listing Sync Pro, you're actually able to update 15 of the top 100 directories, literally with a click of a button. And of course, the additional 25 listings will also be updated. So, GPS, navigation, search engines. Other listings in the top 100, unfortunately, are going to need to be manually claimed to actually update. But, I would recommend visiting our blog, which is vendasta.com/blog. And on the right-hand side, you'll see a graphic that invites you to see Vendasta's top 100 business directories, and that can help you at least focus your efforts on the listings that do matter. Obviously, we'd like to be listed on all 100. That would be ideal, but just to be realistic, getting listed in a handful of these is really going to benefit your clients. So something that you may not have known, Listing Sync Pro actually updates the GPS navigation systems of vehicles, and it's in these major automakers. So, anybody that's traveling is going to be using these systems to find nearby coffee shops, restaurants, other businesses, especially if they have no cell phone service, or maybe they're using the hands-free system of their vehicle. These travelers won't find your client's business if they aren't listed in the system. So with the click of a button on Listing Sync Pro, you can get your clients featured in 10 of the most popular GPS navigation systems of these top automakers. So I think it's a pretty cool thing to remember. So we've kind of gone over the ultimate listing solutions here. Let's talk about some best practices as you go along. So USPS's look up a zip code is really going to be your best friend when it comes to listings. So just visit their website, click on look up a zip code, and run your client's address through the system. So this is going to ensure that you're using the proper formatting for the address field. And like I said, it should be the first step before you do any kind of claiming work. If we do have an address entered, improperly with bad formatting, this could actually lead to low acceptance of your client's listing on online directories and with the data providers. So it's not a good situation. Always use local numbers. So keep the toll-free and tracking numbers out of your listings. Many directories do not accept these type of numbers, and it causes them to, a bunch of listings to have inconsistent phone numbers. So this will negatively affect that business's SEO. So just make sure you keep it local for best results. Get a branded email from your client when you can. It's really going to ease the process of both claiming and reclaiming listings, because it's basically like your client has pre-verified your agency. Google, Bing, and Yelp are going to be way more willing to help you when you have that official email address from your client. This is something that we've kind of discovered, in the past year, but you need to log in to your listings on a regular basis. And this is because listing information actually changes without warning. So Google, for instance, accepts suggestions from its users, publishes them without consulting the business owner first. And that's even if the business listing is claimed. And you need to log in on a monthly basis to accept or reject these edits and keep that listing up to date. So some directories will actually even remove listings that have been inactive for a long time. So you got to log in and protect them. You've already put in all this work. So that's a good thing to remind your client to do so as well. Now, this goes hand in hand with the next point, is just to monitor your listings post-claiming. It's not a set it and forget it kind of thing anymore. Listings actually change without warning, and our platform makes it super easy for your agency and your clients to keep an eye on them. So there's really no excuse not to monitor them. Just hop into the listings page of Reputation Management, take a quick gander, and just make sure everything is as it should. So I wanted to also briefly touch on suggested bundles and pricing, and this page should be pretty familiar to you. You'll notice that we've bundled listing services into all of our packages, as it's just such a crucial piece to the business's virtual doorway. So we've even included some listing solutions in our do-it-yourself toolkit. So you can see here we got Listing Distribution and Listing Sync Pro included in the basic bundle, and that's because they are perfect solutions for do-it-yourself, because they are entirely automated. It only takes 2 clicks and your client has a pretty decent listing solution without having to claim a single listing. So they can, be assured that their business is going to be listed correctly on both the big 4 data providers, along with 40 other sources, ranging from search engines to GPS systems. So it's a really nice little package for do-it-yourself. Moving to the mid and high tier bundles, you'll also notice we added Visibility Premium, and that's of course claiming the big 4 directories, which we're super familiar with now. We've already touched on the high priority of claiming correcting these 4 listings, but because they are part of a do-it-with-me solution, they do belong in the higher price bundles, because they are going to take some time and effort on your team. Now we get a lot of partners, asking what they should charge for these services. So here's what Vendasta's digital agency charges for some listing services on their own, and you can base your pricing off these rates or kind of consider them an industry standard. So Visibility Premium, we charge $150 one time for that service. That's claiming the big 4 listings. For any one-off listings, we charge $30 each, and that discludes the big 4. So I've also put a little asterisk here. It may be more depending on the claiming difficulty of that directory. So that's kind of up to your discretion. And something that you may not have known is we actually do charge for NAP data changes. So if a business wants to update a piece of their data, whether it be the phone number or maybe their website, we charge $100 because it involves our agents actually logging into each and every listing and updating that information. So that's kind of our suggested pricing. So that wraps up our performance group for today. Again, I just want to thank you for taking some time out of your busy day to talk about listings with me. And if you have any questions or feedback for me, just feel free to shoot me an email at nlabor@vendasta.com. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your week.